Hey, this is Dan with Pain Free You. Today I've got another success story interview for you. I've got Laura Haraka here, and we don't have just one symptom or one issue to talk about. She's actually been diagnosed with up to 10 different things and had a pain journey that lasted 3.5 years or so. So she's really anxious and eager to, not anxious, she's eager to share her story. Because like so many people who go through this journey and come out the other side feeling great, we're very compelled to help other people. So this is Laura's opportunity to do that, give her an audience. And so Laura, thank you for being willing to share. I'm sure you will be inspiring many people by doing this. So I'm going to shut up and I'm going to let you kind of tell your story a little bit as to where you've been, when you found out about this mind-body stuff, what that journey looked like, and kind of what some of the things are that made the difference for you. So take it away.
Okay. Thank you, Dan. I just want to say again, thank you for having me here today. I found it to be my mission to share my story as much as possible to help women and men with especially pelvic pain. And I know we say in the mind-body world, it doesn't matter what type of pain, but I do feel if you can relate to someone saying, oh, she had this and I have this, maybe I can heal from this too. Right. So that's why I do this. So my journey began actually, and I know the date, May 2nd of 2015, because you seem to remember certain dates when you're in that much pain. And I started the day just normally, like any other day. I went running, I took my kids to school, and then I came back and I went to the bathroom. And no big deal. And then 5 minutes later, I had to go to the bathroom again and again. And it started feeling not right. So I said to myself, oh, you probably have a UTI, even though I've never had one before. So I did what anyone else would do, eat some yogurt, drink some water, and it went away. 2 days later, it still was there, but it got progressively worse. So I went to my primary doctor, figured I'd get an antibiotic, and I'll be good in a couple of days. I went to my primary doctor, and he said there was absolutely nothing wrong with me. I was completely perplexed. I was like, there has to be something wrong with me. I must have a UTI. Right. So the pain got worse over the next week or so. And I decided to go to a urologist. And the urologist did a cystoscopy on me, which some of these tests that I had done on me were very uncomfortable procedures.
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah, they put you in a very vulnerable state. So I had the cystoscopy done, and he also said there was nothing wrong with me. My bladder looked fine. However, he did, because I was in tears at this point, give me overactive bladder medications. They did not help. So I went back and they did a urodynamic study, which is actually worse than the cystoscopy. I didn't think it could get worse. And they said there might be some retention. So they gave me medication for retention, which again, didn't work. I went to see another urologist who did another urodynamic study. So I had to go through it again. And he basically told me I was crazy. There's nothing wrong with me. And I needed to see a psychiatrist. Which was awful because I was in pain. Something needed to be done. So I just went to my car and I just literally sobbed. Just sobbed. I didn't know what else to do. So over the next few months, the pain actually started increasing, and I developed chronic pelvic pain. And it became worse every single day. And some days it was excruciating. It actually hurt to sit, stand, or walk for too long. I had a cushion wherever I sat. I brought it with me into my friends' cars, wherever I was. And I couldn't wear jeans or any type of restrictive clothing. And I didn't know what to do. It was pretty scary because the doctor said they couldn't do anything. However, I was determined. I was like, I'm going to find the reason for this pain. And I went searching for a diagnosis. During that time, I had a few MRIs as well. So I went to the first doctor, which was a gynecologist. then she diagnosed me with pelvic floor dysfunction and PGAD, which was really awful. And she gave me Botox injections, supplements, and medications. I think it was gabapentin, basically, I was on. Again, that did not help either one of those conditions. With my MRIs, I also went to an orthopedist and a spine doctor. They said I had a slight herniated disc. They actually gave me a nerve block to see if that was the cause of my pain, and it wasn't. It didn't help at all. I actually even saw a surgeon for a hernia, but he did not believe that that was the cause of my pain too. I still have this hernia right now, never had it repaired. That's important to mention. I also then went to a pain doctor in Pennsylvania. I traveled an hour and a half once a week to see this pain doctor. And he then diagnosed me with interstitial cystitis. And I also had urethral inflammation. During that time I saw him, I had bladder installations and injections. During the bladder installations, I had to be catheterized for them to put the medicine into my bladder. Which was kind of awful. And the other thing that I had to do, he gave me kits, so I had to do it once a week at home by myself. So I learned how to do this. I didn't get any better. It was months driving to Pennsylvania and nothing was working. I had another MRI and they diagnosed me with pelvic floor congestion syndrome. And I went to an interventional radiologist to fix this. And he said they were the largest varicose veins, because that's what that is. If you don't know what this is, for anyone listening, they're varicose veins in your pelvis. And he said they were the largest ones he's ever seen. So I went in for a surgery where they went in through my neck and they embolized my ovarian veins. Uh-huh. Yep, they went right down my neck and they embolized these veins. And I have coils in these veins as we speak today. Unfortunately, it didn't work. And I will make note that I had this surgery and I was awake. The reason I was awake was because the doctors had given me Klonopin at the time. So they didn't give me enough anesthesia. So I was awake throughout the whole entire procedure. So anyway, when that didn't work, I live in New Jersey and I went to 2 different pelvic pain doctors in New York City. There, I was diagnosed with pudendal neuralgia. So I keep getting different diagnoses every time I go to a different doctor. And they gave me a nerve block. And the nerve block, actually, I had some numbing, but it really didn't work at all. So I just was going to was told I was going to basically suffer with pudendal neuralgia for the rest of my life. And as you can see, I'm sitting here right now, no cushion. I also went to another pelvic pain doctor in the city, and I went for 2 months getting a series of 10 injections into my pelvis. And I believe they were called iliolingual injections. And again, they didn't help at all. Then I started going into pain management because I didn't know what else to do. And this was my downfall. The first pain management doctor I saw put me on oxycodone. So now I found myself a month later basically addicted to oxycodone. I couldn't stop taking it. And as I found out later, taking oxycodone actually it's not letting the brain's pain receptors work. You needed more and more in order to make it work. So I was addicted to that. I realized I was addicted to that. I saw another pain management doctor who put me on low dose naltrexone, I believe it's called, to try to help with the pain. I realized I was in bad shape with this oxy. So I weaned myself off of it and the Klonopin. It wasn't good for me. So this wasn't good enough though for me. I then traveled to Tennessee to see a pudendal neuralgia specialist. And he had this experimental procedure that he was going to do. And because I was in so much pain, I wasn't thinking straight. and didn't make wise decisions. And I jumped at the chance to go. So me and my husband flew on a plane, went to Tennessee, had this experimental treatment done of injections, and that didn't work either. I also took a train to Washington, D.C. to see another pelvic pain specialist. And all she did was give me medications, supplements, and creams, and another MRI. So this MRI that she gave me showed 2 Tarlov cysts.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So I had 2 Tarlov cysts on my spine, and I called a Tarlov cyst specialist in Texas. And it was going to take months for me to talk to him on the phone. So I wanted an answer. I jumped on a plane and I went to Texas just so I could meet him in person and see what he said. He basically did not want to do surgery. He wasn't convinced that this was the cause of my pain. So, and I wasn't going to jump on another surgery after having the first one. I went to one more doctor. I went to another gynecologist in New York City, and she diagnosed me with endometriosis. So I had all these things. I definitely did. And for those of you that don't know the vomit studies, that's what I am, a victim of modern imaging technology. You know, all these things showed all these things that were wrong, but they weren't causing me pain. They were just normal abnormalities that they found in any 45-year-old person. So I then knew that I wasn't getting anywhere. I went and looked at holistic treatments. So I did cryotherapy, acupuncture, extreme diets, supplements, Reiki. I did something called arc wave therapy, which if you don't know what that is, it's like a TENS unit, but 10 times stronger, trying to get this pain to go away. I also continued with physical therapy, pelvic floor physical therapy at the time. And I had 2 great physical therapists. However, I stopped that once I learned about TMS. What was really the most difficult through this time was the relationship with my family and my children. It basically deteriorated. I was on all these different medications, so it was making me kind of like a zombie. And it took its toll on my body. And it didn't even work. It didn't stop the pain from coming. The hardest part was I lost the connection with my children. I couldn't even have like my youngest one sit on my lap, and I could see the anger and like the resentment building up, in them.
Wow.
It was awful. I felt so sad, and I was overwhelmed with guilt for, being sick. And, what I was putting them through emotionally, I felt very guilty for. Not to mention the financial burden that I was putting on my family with all these trips to, Texas, Tennessee, Washington. Yeah. So there was a big financial burden there too. So basically one day it changed. I had all this pain. I had basically given up. I said, I don't know what else to do. I'm just going to have to live with these conditions. My 16-year-old daughter came home from work. She worked at a snack bar at a local pool. And she told me about a friend that she knew that used a hypnotherapist. And I said, what do I have to lose? What's the difference? I was skeptical because lots of doctors said they could help me and didn't. But I said I would give it a try. So in July of 2017, I'd been suffering basically for over 2 years. I met Caitlin Peterson, and she's in Short Hills, New Jersey. And I didn't know it yet that when I walked through her door, that she was going to be the one that was going to change my life forever. She was different than any other therapist, and I'll explain that to you in a minute, that I ever met. Her techniques were completely different. She didn't care about the diagnoses that I had. She said, forget all about it. And she didn't want to hear about my symptoms. And I was like, what do you mean? I have to tell you about my symptoms. They hurt. But thank God for her, because I wouldn't be here today without her. So this is what started these aha moments that were going to come. I did my first hypnotherapy session with her, And for those of you that aren't familiar, it was basically just a deep meditative state that I went into, and I was able to connect with my emotions a little more. And during these sessions, I worked on getting rid of my anger, my guilt, my fear, my sadness, and all these things I was repressing. And, I have many people, clients tell me, I'm not repressing emotions. Well, I didn't think I was either. So even if you think you're not, you really might be holding them all in. And during our first session, I was actually able to get the pain down, which was incredible to me. And I was confused because doctors were not able to do this. The pain, I will tell you, did not stay down, but it went down in that one session. So that was my first aha moment that, something else is going on here. And from that point, I started keeping track of other aha moments, which was pretty cool. And it was the first time I was ever aware there actually was some type of mind-body connection. Even though I never heard of Sarno yet, I didn't know it yet. So I took, Caitlin told me to sign up for this meditation class. And I took a meditation class with this wonderful woman, Ann Sussman. And she was calm and patient, and she was really a great teacher. And during the class, I really was able to calm my whole system down. All these emotions and stresses and traumas had caused my nervous system to be in this flight and fight. And so the meditation for me was nice and calming. And I noticed the pain didn't go away, but the pain was shifting. It didn't go to another part of my body at the time, but it definitely shifted into nerve pain. It would be the urethral pain one day, the bladder pain. So I was like, there's something going on here. And I didn't understand what. I will tell you that this didn't happen overnight, because I think people say, oh, I meditated, I don't feel better. This took time. It didn't happen in 1 week of meditating. It took over the course of 3 months, but I definitely was disciplined and consistent. And I also did it as much as I could. I didn't put pressure on myself to do it. But the main thing I did here, I didn't do this to get rid of the pain. It was really my first form of self-care, because I find with people that have pain, they really aren't having any self-care. And so that's what I gave myself, self-care. And I continue to practice self-care and self-compassion for myself over time. I was amazed with the shift that I had in the pain. So I don't know if you could see behind me, but this is my meditation room. And it's important to note this. I created this whole room in my house just so I could meditate. And I cleared the room out. I had exercise equipment and junk, and I bought furniture that I had to put together, pictures I had to hang up, all different things. And I realized as I was putting the furniture together and really concentrating on the directions, my pain went down. It went down. So that's when I put it together. There was another connection, and that was aha moment number 2. So now I not only meditated, I actually did practice mindfulness. And I did this a lot under Caitlin, and I would just go take walks. I became a dog walker. Nice. Because I had to do something with my life. I couldn't just sit here and feel depressed. So I became a dog walker. And as I walked, I would pick something I could hear, something I could touch, something I could feel, smell, taste, just to keep myself out of my thoughts and into the present moment. I also repeated mantras constantly that I'm healing, I am strong. And you know how a song gets stuck in your head? Well, these mantras actually got stuck in my head. They were going off on autopilot when I wasn't even saying them. I also tried to visualize myself healthy. So I did that a lot. Nice. And I repeated these mantras actually at all different times. I repeated them before I went to the bathroom. I would tell myself, I'm strong, I am healthy. Going to the bathroom does not cause urethral pain. And I did that continuously. Again, not for a week. I also did it with sitting down, telling myself I can sit down, that Tarlov cysts don't cause sitting pain, that Pudendal neuralgia. It's not causing my pain. There was a connection I was making to everything.
Sure.
Now, this actually is my favorite story, which was aha moment number 3. When I told you Caitlin was different, she was different. I would wait for Caitlin outside of her office. And I was depressed, I was anxious, I was in pain. And there was a long hallway she had to go down to get to her office. But before she turned the corner, she would start playing music. And she would literally dance down the hallway. So I don't know about how many therapists would do that, but she danced down the hallway for me. And it was the only thing that made me smile all week. And I was very grateful for her. And I couldn't even put it into words how grateful, and there was no way to repay her. But this is why the story is important. Okay. So for 3 months, I learned steps to a dance to do for her birthday. And you say, why 3 months? 3 months, because I'm that bad a dancer. It took me that long to learn it. So I basically started learning the dance steps. And as I was doing that, my pain would go down. And because I was concentrating on each step. And this was something I wasn't good at either. So, but I didn't know it at the time, but I was creating and forming new neural pathways in my brain and weakening the old ones. But again, didn't really realize that at the time. I just knew my pain was going down. And then I went to aha moment number 4. I went to Florida for a soccer tournament. And now, just to mention, I'm not on painkillers this time. I'm not on any kind of medication. And as the plane landed in Florida, my pain vanished. It was the most amazing thing. It literally went away. So I had a great trip, 2 days. I was busy going on rides, watching soccer. And as we got on the Magical Express, I think it's called, coming back to the airport, all of a sudden, my pain started creeping up. And I turned to my husband and I said, oh my God, this is happening. Something's happening. Caitlin is the key to me getting better. So I said, I better start listening to her.
Right.
Now, I was just online and I found the book by Dr. Schubner. I'm a big Dr. Schubner fan.
Me too.
Unlearn Your Pain.
Yep.
And I read the book, and this was aha moment number 5. I read this book and I felt like I was reading just like totally about myself. I'm like, oh my God, this is me. And I'm like, and now I'm feeling hope. I'm like, maybe there is a way to get better. Even though I was having these aha moments, I wasn't completely convinced. So I had the TMS personality type. I had symptoms, TMS symptoms that were happening throughout my life: gastritis, arthritis, sciatica, migraines. I've had a ton of TMS symptoms. I'm like, oh my God, I'm the poster child for TMS. However, I wasn't completely convinced. So I found a TMS therapist, and I think I found it in the back of his book, actually. I think there's a listing, and her name was Wendy Newman. And she also is a somatic therapist. And she taught me tools that definitely greatly impacted my life. And I'm grateful for her as well for this. She showed me how basically energy moved in my body and how to identify the emotions that were stored in my body. And when I was able to identify the emotion in my body, I could sometimes get the pain to go down.
Cool.
So that was aha moment number 6. Now, it is very hard, and I know because I see from some of my clients that I talk to, doubt. It's very hard to, buy into this. And I still wasn't there. Even with all those aha moments, I wasn't there. So she sent me to a doctor, Dr. Paul Watts, who's in New Jersey. Yeah. So he basically convinced me my pain was not physical at all. And I think I needed to hear it from a doctor. I did, because I thought that doctors were the end all at the time. I don't feel that anymore, even though doctors are wonderful people and help people tremendously with different things. But he had me just repeat. And I did this on my dog walks, actually. My symptoms are not physical. They're my brain's way of protecting me from. And I named the things that they were protecting me from. One of them was my fear of my daughter leaving for college. I was very upset about that. Then there was some anger issues with some people in my family. And I had to, while I was walking the dogs, I had to actually feel this in my body. And then I never heard of you before. I stumbled across you on the internet. And I joined your Facebook group. And as I was walking my dogs every single day, I would listen to one of your videos. And what your videos did was reinforce everything that Caitlin and Wendy were teaching me. So your videos were invaluable to me. It was important to keep, the fear down, to get the doubt away. So those videos helped me tremendously. And like I said, I listened to them every single day. I also listened to books on Audible because I could do that while I was walking the dog. And I came across this book, and I'm hoping it helps people too. That's why I like to mention things that I did that helped me. The Presence Process. Great book. I always tell people, take out of things what you think help you. You don't have to, go into them full force. So I took out some of the things that helped me, and he had a meditation that he used in there. And I did that twice a day for 20 minutes. But I had to build up to that. I didn't just do it all at once. But that book did help me tremendously. At that point, I think I accepted this diagnosis. I accepted it. There was you telling me, there was Caitlin, there was Wendy, there was Dr. Gwatz. I accepted it. So I just started reading as many books as I could, and I got rid of all of my pain groups completely. Totally took myself off the Facebook groups.
That's huge.
Yeah, huge. The only Facebook group I was on was yours. So I replaced it. I love your Facebook group because it's you telling a message to people and giving people hope. I also decided to start exercising when I knew, and even though I walked, I was a runner and I stopped running. So I decided to slowly get myself back into running. I meditated every day. I journaled, and I know there's a lot about journaling. People don't like to journal, but I did journal. But then I stopped and I started using one of the methods you said in your videos. I believe, if I'm correct, it's like an open house for your emotions. And I would do that. And I said, what am I feeling today? Is it anger? And I'd see if I was, and if I was feeling it, I'd say, where am I feeling it in my body? And then I'd let anger go out the other door after I was done. So I did that a lot, along with journaling. It was, what I felt like that day. I also became very conscious of the way I spoke to myself. The thoughts that we have are very, the thoughts we believe and we focus on are the ones that grow. So I started, and this is another book I use too, The Warrior Heart Practice by Heather Ashamara. And it's a way to get through your feelings, then go to the story, and then go to the truth of the matter and your intention so that you can change the way you feel. So it's a practice that I use with my clients now today, and it really, really helps you get through your emotions and change your thought process.
So let me ask you a question on that.
Yeah.
When you said you figure out what the emotion is and what's the story behind it,
mm-hmm.
and then you look for what, a lesson?
The truth of the matter. You name the truth, what the truth really is. It's almost like you're combating those thoughts.
Which is kind of like a lesson that you're learning from that experience. The truth of the matter is that, I wasn't really abused as a kid, but I felt neglected.
Exactly.
And you kind of reframe that experience. I see what you mean.
Yeah, exactly. Reframing is the perfect word.
And what was the last step after the truth?
To set an intention. Basically, maybe to have some compassion for myself, some self-love. And then you actually go back through the process to see if you forgot any truths. You rewrite your story, and then your feeling and emotion actually changes where you can feel better about it. So it's a pretty cool process. I also put a plan in place. I decided that I was going to take my power back. I wasn't going to let these pain conditions rule my life. So I basically had my plan. I meditated, I felt my emotions, and I brought as much joy into my day as possible. So I didn't spend the whole day working to get rid of my pain. I stopped I just stopped. I said, I'm going to just live my life now. I'm going to live my life regardless if I have pain, treating it with indifference. So
that was huge for me as well.
Yeah, really huge. Just bringing as much joy back into your life as possible. And I stopped being hard on myself. If I didn't have the time to journal or meditate, I didn't punish myself. And as you say, more often than most. See, I did listen to your videos. I know.
Right. You're quoting me. I don't even have to say a word. I can just sit.
One of the other things I did, which was the biggest thing, which Caitlin had told me, we're going to stop talking about your pain. So I stopped talking about my pain. I told the people in my life that I didn't even want them to ask me what my pain was.
Which I say all the time.
Yep. Just so we stopped talking about my pain for like 90 days. That was the goal, which I did. I also kept dancing. For those of you that know TikToks, I kept dancing and doing TikToks with my kids, and it kept reinforcing these new habits, producing a new neural pathway and weakening that old one. I stopped. This is really important. I stopped waiting to feel good to find joy in my life. Like I said, I took my power back. I did what I wanted, regardless of the pain.
Right.
One last hurdle for me was forgiveness.
Okay.
I had to forgive the people in my life that I was angry at, and I had to forgive myself. And another good book I've read is Forgive for Good by Fred Luskin. Great book if anyone's needs to work on forgiveness. So all these things I did, what Caitlin, Wendy were teaching me, what the things that you said in your videos, the more I did, the more aha moments I had. So now I will make a comment that every time you put joy in your life, it didn't always make the pain go down for me. I don't want people to think that, because it didn't. Sometimes I was in pain, but what I did was I didn't say, oh, it's not working, because you don't want to say that, even though it's hard to not say that, but I took it as an opportunity to treat it with indifference and get rid of the fear, to teach my brain that this pain hurt me, but it wasn't harming me.
Yeah. So one point I'd like to make there is that if you're doing something with the intention of, I'm going to be happy so I can get rid of my pain, never going to work. Your intention is always still about the pain, which means you're connecting those pathways and you're using them. So I like to say, do something fun without any expectation of outcome. Right?
Exactly.
Just do something fun without an outcome. I'm going to just go enjoy a walk in the park because I like walking in the park, period. Has nothing to do with, did it fix the pain or not? Because if you're doing it for the wrong reason, you're always looking over your shoulder going, is the pain still there? Yeah, it's
right.
still there. And so I just wanted to talk, just touch on that.
Yeah, no, that's important, because that's what I did. I just said, I'm going to live my life and do it anyway. And I don't want everyone to think, oh, she got better from dancing. I'm going to try dancing. No, you have to do something you like to do. Do something you like to do just to get your life back, to do what you want to do and put as much joy in your life as possible. People ask me all the time, am I out of pain? And the truth is, yes, but everyone has pain in life. Everyone gets a headache once in a while or something like that. It happens. And my body now notifies me when I'm repressing something or I'm too stressed out. The difference is I don't fear it anymore. I'm curious about it.
Huge.
Yeah, I'm curious about it. I talk to myself, what's going on? And and when it does come, the funny thing is, this is funny. Sometimes like when I was getting my Facebook page together and I wasn't having any more pelvic pain at this time, before I published it, all of a sudden I got trigeminal neuralgia in my face.
Well, you had facial TMS that doctors call trigeminal.
Exactly.
You didn't get trigeminal neuralgia. You had TMS in the face temporarily.
Right. Correct. You're correct. Yeah. So I had this facial pain and I was like, but I started laughing. I literally started laughing. I go, I'm going to lay down for a minute. I'm going to take some deep breaths. And I connected with the fear that I was feeling because, like I said, my mission is just to get my story out there and to try to help people with pelvic pain if I can. And within a day, it was gone. Yeah.
And that's key.
Yeah.
Because Nicole Sachs, give her a shout out. She says there's no cure for human pain, but there is a cure for chronic pain. And what Laura really showed is that she had some significant pain appear out of seemingly nowhere, but based on how she chose to respond to it with insight, knowledge, curiosity, and lack of fear, it didn't stick around and it never became chronic or persistent. And that's our greatest strength, is choosing how we respond when we do feel a twinge, a pain, something going on, is to say, I think I know what's going on. You check in emotionally. You don't allow the fear to escalate. You don't get into catastrophic thinking. And with curiosity, you kind of say, I understand this. This makes sense.
Exactly.
Based on the the promotion of your new page. And the response is one of our most powerful tools to taking a symptom and not allowing it to become persistent or chronic. So great point.
Yeah, exactly. Most of my other TMS symptoms since I've done this mind body work have disappeared. And once in a while they'll flash back up and I actually start laughing because I think it's funny what the brain can do. And the more I laugh at it, the less I have.
It's like a laser light show. Just enjoy the show.
Exactly.
Pop over there. Wow, cool. Oh, look at that. And I know I'm trivializing it because it can be severe and can be scary, but what you learn through this journey is there's really no reason to be afraid.
Exactly. So that's what I did. I just was like, oh, that's interesting, basically.
Fantastic.
And it went away. And I will tell you, I very rarely have pelvic pain today. Hardly anything. Every once in a while, I will tell you, even before doing this, I went to the bathroom 3 times, but I started cracking up. I go, oh, you're just nervous about doing the video. I said, you're fine. And as I'm sitting here with you now, I am fine. It's exactly. And, I just want to point out too, that a lot of good things came out of this. As horrible as the pain was, a lot of good things came out of it. I'm more present with my kids than I ever was. I learned to set boundaries. I learned forgiveness. Most importantly, I love myself. The best thing for me that came out of this, I'm making a joke, but I can wear jeans again, which is great. So there were a lot of lessons I learned. I also learned that doctors don't know everything. Yeah. Doctors don't know everything. And now I can use all these tools that I've learned in my life. I don't get too stressed out anymore because I know I need to take the time for myself. So it definitely, taught me a lot. And it also put me in a new direction in life. I went and I took Dr. Schubner's practitioner training so that I could help people. Like I said, I'm a big fan of Dr. Schubner. I also am halfway through my somatic experiencing certification, because that's another tool I really use to help myself get out of pain. So if it wasn't for this, I wouldn't be taking this other, path in my life. And, like I said, I had a plan. I didn't let it consume my day. It's hard, but it's simple. It really is simple. Some of the tools we have to do. But I do believe if you just bring as much joy into your life, everyone can heal from this. They definitely can.
I agree.
And to take your power back, take your power back, as difficult. And I know how hard it is because I can empathize with every single one of you out there that's in pain. But I'm sitting here to tell you, I live my life. I am basically free of pain. Just like I said, everyone's going to get something here and, every now and again. But I have my life back and I'm healthy. And I'm sitting here today with, no pain at all.
That's awesome. So cool.
Yeah, it is so cool, right? Sometimes I think it's amazing that this actually happened.
That's a heck of a journey.
Yeah.
10 diagnoses to pain-free.
Mm-hmm.
And it really came about from you taking the responsibility for your own health back into your hands,
mm-hmm.
instead of delegating it from one specialist to the next, from state to state, halfway across the country.
Mm-hmm.
And no offense to doctors, but they just have not been equipped through medical school to deal with chronic symptoms.
Right.
And they only know what they've been taught. And it's not their fault. They're great people. They're doing everything they can. They mean well. But as it relates to chronic symptoms, if you're watching this video, you're in the right place.
Right.
TMS, this mind-body syndrome, this mind-body connection between stressors, emotions, life events, and the onset of chronic symptoms, it's not a coincidence. This is the cause of the vast majority of chronic symptoms, pains, illness, and even things like autoimmune or digestive.
Mm-hmm.
Very much stress-induced challenges.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have anything else you want to share or add?
No, I just want to I'm hoping that my story gives people hope, because yeah, I hope so. That's basically my main mission. If anyone ever has questions or wants to message me, I'm more than happy to answer anything. I answer questions on Messenger all the time on Facebook for people.
And is the Facebook page your name?
I have my personal page, and then I have my my business page as well.
And what is that called?
Feel to Heal.
What is it? Feel to Heal?
Yeah, Feel to Heal. That's my business page where I just post things, that I hope can help people.
Yeah. So if anybody wants to, follow Laura and perhaps connect Feel to Heal, and her name again is Laura Haraka, Haraka.
Correct.
Look her up, reach out. Yeah, she's got a great story. And as it relates to pelvic pain, and despite the fact that there's 10 diagnoses, it seemed like all of your symptoms were centered in that part of the body.
Exactly. They were.
So I think to say that this is a pelvic pain success story, and the pelvic pain includes any number of those 10 different potential medical labels. This is a great pelvic pain success story. So that's probably how I'll position it when we share it in a thumbnail image and all that kind of stuff. Because there's a lot of people that go, but Dan, what about this? What about that? And does this work? I heard, TMS is just back pain. No. It's way more than just back pain. It can be virtually any type of pain.
Yeah, that's why I mention all the different diagnoses, because people will say, oh, I had IC. Is that included in pelvic pain? So I wanted to, so people can relate to all the different things I had.
Awesome. Yeah, so try not to get too lost into the symptoms and medical labels, but just know that so much is included in this TMS, the mind-body work. Mm-hmm. And, Laura did not have to solve each of these quote-unquote individual diagnoses one by one. She just had to teach her brain that she was okay. And she did that through not distracting herself with dancing, but by actually engaging in life and doing something she enjoyed, not to fix the pain, but because she was having some fun and decided having fun is more important than fixing myself. And at some point you got the aha that said, holy cow, I'm not actually broken.
Exactly.
And that, when you start to get it from here to here, It goes from knowledge to wisdom. Things can start happening. So from the time you found out about this TMS and Dr. Sarno till the time that you kind of felt like you had this licked, how long was that?
Well, I saw Caitlin in July of 2017, and even though she's not a TMS coach or therapist, she had the same agenda. She knew exactly what to do regardless. So I think by the end of 2018, definitely by the beginning of 2019, I was better.
Yeah.
But I had a lot of good times once I realized the diagnosis. There were times I had no pain for weeks. So a year and a half to being totally better. But during that time, it wasn't, I had some good moments as well.
Yeah. So I'll encourage anybody who's having some good times and then the pain comes back or it moves, stay with it, because this is absolutely the right path. The fact that pain can go away for a while and then come back or move somewhere else doesn't mean this whole thing is hogwash. It just literally means the brain still hasn't settled down completely yet. And it's still doing its TMS type of stuff to keep us distracted, protect us from some perceived danger, whatever that may be. So, Laura, unless you've got anything else, I think this was fantastic. I think a lot of people are going to, love hearing your story, get a lot out of it. You've listed a number of resources, and I'll make sure to, if I can, link up to your Facebook page, Feel to Heal.
Okay, great.
And on there, if you want to, do you have like resources that you use?
I do actually on my website, feeltoheal.live. I have actually a TMS resource board where I have different meditations that you just click on them, and some success stories. There's a few different things that they can just look at if they like.
Yeah, I'll try to link those up when I do the posting of this story.
Great.
So I appreciate you. Unless you have anything else, we'll wrap this up. Everybody.
No, I appreciate you too. Thank you very much for all you've done for me.
Yeah,
and for all the
everybody
people
here.
out there.
Everybody here, thanks for watching. Leave some comments for Laura. Tell her how much you appreciate her sharing her story. And you'll have to share your TikTok channel so we can go watch.
Sure, no problem.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye.